There's a photo of Lorenzo Salgado Araujo that news outlets kept using after he died. Him standing behind a birthday cake, smiling, on some ordinary day nobody thought to write down. Nobody in that photo knew it would become the image the world used to remember him. Because on the morning of July 7, 2026, Lorenzo did what he'd done nearly every day for years. He got in his van to drive his construction crew to a job site. 20 minutes later, he was dead, shot by a federal agent, in an operation that, by the government's own account, wasn't even looking for him. So how does an ordinary Tuesday commute end in a bullet, a homicide ruling, and a case the government still can't fully explain? Stay with me. What actually happened here is stranger and sadder than most stories I bring you. Lorenzo Salgado Araujo wasn't famous. He's in this story because of one terrible morning, not because he ever wanted attention. He was 52, Mexican-born, and he'd called Houston home for more than 3 decades. He worked in construction his whole adult life, and by the time of his death, he was the guy running the crew, the boss who still drove the van himself instead of handing that job to somebody else. That morning, he had his brother and 2 crew members riding with him, heading to their next job in Houston's East End. It was routine. It was nothing. And then it wasn't. ICE agents, in unmarked vehicles, were working what the agency later called a targeted enforcement operation in the same area. At some point, Salgado Araujo's van and the agent's vehicles ended up in the same place. Within moments, an officer opened fire. Salgado Araujo was hit once. He was rushed to Ben Taub Hospital. He didn't make it. By nightfall, this wasn't a local story anymore. The Houston Chronicle had it, then the New York Times, then every major outlet in the country. And almost immediately, 2 completely different versions of that morning started competing for the truth. Here's the official version. ICE says Salgado Araujo rammed one of their vehicles, then tried to run over an officer, and that the officer who fired did so in self-defense. That's the account the agency has repeated since day one. It didn't hold up quietly for long. His family says it doesn't add up. Civil rights groups, elected officials, people who were nearby that morning, they've all pushed back, publicly and immediately. Then came a detail that complicated everything. Witnesses cited by the New York Times say Salgado Araujo was actually shot through an open passenger side window. Not mid-ram, not mid-chase, through a window. No agency footage has surfaced. And honestly, the part that still gets me is this. The officers on scene hadn't even been issued body cameras yet. Not in some remote corner of the country, in the middle of Houston, in 2026. A few days later, the Harris County medical examiner ruled the manner of death a homicide. That word sounds like a verdict, but it isn't one. Legally, it just means one person's actions caused another person's death. No blame assigned. No charges filed. Just an investigation that's still very much alive. The Texas Rangers opened their own inquiry. So did the Harris County DA. So did the FBI, which is where this story takes a strange detour. Agents searched Salgado Araujo's van and said they saw small bags of a white, crystal-like substance in plain view. For a couple of days, that detail hung over the whole case like it might explain everything. Then the Harris County DA's office pushed back. They said they didn't believe it was actually narcotics at all. Before we go any further, if you prefer true crime that waits for the truth, instead of guessing at it, hit subscribe. This channel isn't about rushing to a verdict. It's about sitting with the uncomfortable, unfinished parts of a story until the facts actually catch up. Because here's the part I genuinely cannot stop thinking about. Days after the shooting, Congresswoman Sylvia Garcia said ICE told her something that hadn't been made public before, that Lorenzo Salgado Araujo and his brother were never the intended targets of that operation at all. Read that again. If that's accurate, a federal team was hunting for someone else entirely and ended up taking the life of a construction foreman who, as far as anyone has shown, had nothing to do with whatever they were actually investigating. That's not a side detail. That's the fact that should sit heavy with anyone watching this, no matter which account of that morning you believe, no matter where you land politically. To be clear, it's still a second-hand account of what agents told a member of Congress, not a confirmed fact. But it's exactly the kind of thread that keeps investigators, and reporters like me, still pulling. As of today, nobody has been charged. Not the officer who fired, not Salgado Araujo's brother, who was arrested at the scene and, as far as we know, is still in ICE custody. The Texas Rangers, the Harris County DA, and federal investigators are all still working this case, and the state has promised an independent review running alongside it. What isn't up for debate is what this did to a community. Hundreds of people lined up for a public viewing at a Houston funeral home, many of them wearing blue, because that's what his family asked for. And the full truth of that July morning could take months, maybe longer, to actually land. Which is exactly why I don't guess on cases like this one. But if you want a case where the truth already came out, where a single piece of evidence cracked the whole thing wide open, click the video on your screen right now.